today. Okay, we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shagana Dalita Sri Visakhan Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so it seems nobody is new so far today.
If not, that's fine too, okay?
So we are in our fourth module of Science of Self-Realization. Seems the recording already started. Okay. All right. So we are in our fourth module, the Science of Self-Realization, week 4. Let me launch the PowerPoint. So far we have discussed in last 3 modules the search of happiness, that we are all looking for happiness in this world. We are all trying to enjoy, but whenever we are trying to enjoy, we are also suffering. So as a human being, we should question, why we are suffering. Although we want happiness, we want permanent life, but the happiness is kind of illusion. It comes and goes, even if there is any happiness. So that brings us to search for something which is our real source, root cause of all causes, the source of permanence, the eternal bliss. So that brings us to search of God. And the second module, then we discuss, there must be God, there must be a creator for beautiful things going on around our experience. Like all the planets, all the stars and universes, they are orbiting in a regulated manner. So there must be intelligent behind that. And in last module that we discussed that, based on the source of knowledge for something we cannot perceive by our senses, we have to approach Vedic knowledge, which are coming down from the source itself. So we accepted Vedic sources as our authority for knowing about God, which is beyond our material perception. Then we studied from Bhagavad Gita different verses establishing Krishna as God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is God. Nobody else is God. Nobody, other devatas, other demigods are not equal to God. We are not God. So those are the discussion from last time. Today we are going to discuss what is the reality of ourselves, the science of the soul. So who am I really? Am I? So let's move. Seems my slides are stuck somewhere. Okay, so that's what we want to know. Okay, so when we talk to each other, we say, okay, please introduce yourself. Then how do we do? Okay, I am so and so, and I am from this family, or I'm an engineer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a student, I'm a professor, I'm a man, 50-year-old, I am 25-year-old woman. And these are all, we think about, right? We think that we are this, we are that. But what we are really, take a moment. What we are. When we are saying all of this, we are thinking that we are bodies, right? When I say I am a man 50-year-old, then this body is 50-year-old. But am I this body? So if we think that we are this body, then what is the value of the body? What is the value of the body? Can someone guess what is the value of this body? What is the price you'll pay for a body, just for a dead body? So here is something, a composition analysis by chemist. When a chemist see a body, when we think that we are this body, what is the value of this body is this, total $20. Why? Because it has some materials which has some values. Like we have some water, mostly the body is made of water. So you can extract 10 gallons of water. There is some small iron, carbon, some sugar, potassium, lime, fat, phosphorus, little sulfur, there may be some zinc or some other trace elements. So if you just value for the material, thinking that this body is material, so materially the value of this body is only $20. Very, very, very small. But are we this body? I mean, is our value $20 only? We are something higher than this, right? That's why we try to, elongate our life. We value each other. We don't think that, okay, here is something, a piece of material I can buy for $20. No. So, who am I? So when we think deeply, that we understand that we are not these bodies. Because we understand that, we understand that we were, in different size of body, in different age. But I am the same person. When I was a child, now I am, 50-year-old. So I'm the same person. Let me, admit some people here. So by nature, we understand that we are not this body. How do we understand we are not this body? We have some common sense, daily language that we use. We say that, this is my hand, this is my head, this is my nose. So we teach children, right? When they are 2-3-year-old, start speaking, then where is your hand? The child shows this. Where is your nose? The child touches the nose. Where is your ear? The child touching the ear. Then ask, where are you? And the child cannot tell where I am, right? So we are using this this language that, you know, this is my hand, this is my hair, this is my nose, this is my head, this is my chest, this is my heart, but where I am, I mean, you know, everything. So this body, I'm saying that, you know, this is mine. So Dehi, the owner of the body, is something different from the body. That's we have to understand, right? We may see others as, you know, body, like a woman, man, young or old, a child. But when you ask, you know, that person, I mean, he may say, I'm a child, but when you start talking, deeply understanding that, you know, well, this is my body. I'm not this. Okay, so what I am? I am. So we understand that we are not this body, so we are jiva, or the soul. You can experience the soul, the presence of the soul, by presence of consciousness. Like, you know, we move, we breathe, right? So there is some reaction for some stimuli, right? So there is a symptom of consciousness. So that is the difference between a dead body and living body. So the consciousness is a symptom of soul. It is a symptom of soul. So there is a consciousness, means there is soul. For example, you have, you have this light bulb glowing. That means there is some electricity there, right? So the symptom is that the light is glowing. That means there is a consciousness. But then the light behind that bulb is the electricity. So like that. So the symptom of soul is expressed in consciousness. So that you can further understand the dead body and living body is that everything, all the constituents, when you die or somebody dies, then what happens is that there is no consciousness. Although the same body is there, but there is no motion, there is no reaction. It is dead, no breathing, heart stops. So then we understand that, you know, the person is gone, left the body. So the really the soul has left the body. So body can be compared as a, you know, vehicle which moves us, like this. In our Bhagavad Gita, it is expressed that, you know, we have 5 senses. They are like horses. So the body is composed of all of this. The whole diorama or the picture that you see here. Here you see 5 horses. They are different senses: eye, nose, ear, tongue, skin. So these are different 5 senses. These senses are controlled by mind, which is the string that you see here, the rein of the horses. And the person, the driver of this car or the chariot, who is pulling the string, is the intelligence. And to see the far behind, there is a person who is really fearful and going through this rough ride, is the soul. That's what we are. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita tells us about the reality of the body and soul together. So this shows the complete picture. The soul is taking the ride on a car. The soul is not the car, not the cart, not the horses. So the soul is not the intelligence, not the mind, is not the senses, but it is beyond all of this. So we get the knowledge of the soul from our authority, Lord Sri Krishna, speaking in Bhagavad Gita. When there was a Kurukshetra war, Arjuna was there, depressed. He had to fight against his teachers and his relatives. So Lord Krishna speaks the reality of our existence. He starts telling to Arjuna that there was never a time when you did not exist. I did not exist. Neither all of these kings exist. So he says, in future also will exist like we are presently existing. Or we are here now, we were there in the past, and we will be there in the future. That means Lord Krishna is telling here that you are eternal. So the real self is not going to die. So you should not worry. That is the point. So we will refer to some other verses. In the next verse, he gives a perfect analogy that you can understand it properly. If we think in cool head, we can understand Lord Krishna's analogy here. Lord Krishna is saying, Dehino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra ramohyati. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. So Dehina is the soul. Dehi is embodied soul. The soul which is embodied. Like a man who is wearing a coat. Like that. The soul is wearing a body. Like that. So Dehina asmin yatha dehe. Like the embodied soul is passing continuously in this body. How? Like your baby, then child, then young, getting old, and finally dead. So the same soul was there in mother's womb, and it was born from mother's womb and growing into different size of body at different age. It is the same person. You have the same name, same parents. But your body looks different. It keeps changing every day. Although we may not feel, we can understand this. Like every day we have beard, you have hair growing, you have nail growing. Every day there is like these are the fast growing tissues. But our body, it is said that in like 7 years you have a completely, new cells in your body. So within this lifetime, we are changing bodies. So we are the same person, same soul in different bodies in this lifetime. So similarly, because we are eternal, Lord Krishna says that you exist in future also. So where I will go in future? I have to go somewhere, and that somewhere we have to, understand that we take another body. That's what Lord Krishna is saying, that because you're eternal and you are changing body, you will change body after the death of this body. After this body is completely finished, then you will get a new body. So here is a very nice 3D diorama kept in our temples. There you can realize it's a very effective way to convince ourselves that yes, I was like this, and now I am like this, and yes, I'm going to be old. So here is another depiction of this concept that we are changing body. We are changing body within this lifetime. We are getting old. Then we go to mother's womb. Then it is not necessary that we get a human body in next life. Depending on our activities in this life, in past life, our desires and our activities, we may go into different species of life. Because the soul, all the living entities, the animals, plants, bugs, all of us have same quality of eternal soul. So we may change body, and that body is not necessary a human body. Okay, so let's move on. That's also another depiction of changing the body. I'm putting all three different pictures so that we are fully convinced that we are not this body, and we change body within this lifetime. Similarly, we will change body after death. The reincarnation is a fact. So there are some examples in our material world also. Some scientists, they have found some facts which also tells that we are not this body, but we exist beyond this body. So there are some near-death experiences. Here is a patient. He is in emergency room, and doctors are trying to revive his his consciousness. And that person, while while the doctors are treating that person, the soul of that person is watching the whole scene here. And after he comes back to his consciousness from all of this episode, then he tells to doctors, like, you guys were trying to do this with me, and you were speaking, you're discussing like this. And so the doctors were really surprised that although that person was in anesthesia, he should not understand what was going on around him, but he was understanding that. So that's another evidence that the soul exists beyond the body. And we have the daily experience in our dream also. Like, we leave the body and we are in some completely different place. We are in our bedroom, but in dream, what happens is, like, we are experiencing something much different than our bedroom. We are in different city, different country, different with different people, completely in different situation. For example, this night only I was dreaming that I am in some river bank where people are there to perform some rituals, and suddenly there was a flood. The river, the water level started rising so much. Then there was flooding. People have to leave the shore and run away. But then I don't know, somehow the water level again started going down, and people came back. So that was something very unusual experience. I never dreamed like that. So that means personally I'm experiencing something beyond my body. That's the point. There are many people, they remember their past lives. Like, here is a professor in Virginia Tech, University of Virginia, Ian Stevenson. He's a professor of psychiatry. He's actually retired now. And his student is now doing research. So they collected data from 3,000 cases. Now their data is growing. Now they have got around another 1,000 or so in US. So they have data that some children, they start remembering their past life. Like, their parents drive them through some street, and suddenly they say, "Oh, that's my house." And the parents surprise, "Oh, that's not your house. That's a very old house, and nobody lives there now." But no, that's where I used to live. Like, so. And sometimes the same family members, they they share some pictures. They say, "Yeah, that's me. That's my wife," like that. There are many stories there. There are many stories the children, they share about their past, not only in India, but in Europe, in America, all over the world. There have been many cases of past life memories. So we understand that we are not just this body, but we are eternal souls. We change body. So when we are eternal soul, we are not matter. We are anti-matter, not made of material. So what is the ingredient of our soul? The ingredient of soul, the soul is made of three things. It is made of Sattva, Chitta, and Ananda. Hmm? So Sat means eternal. The soul is eternal. Chit means full of cognizance or knowledge, and full of bliss or ananda, happiness. So when we change our consciousness of thinking that I am a man, woman, I am a doctor, I am a nurse, I am a sweeper, I am a whatever, businessman or whatever, these are all body, bodily concept. These are all bodily consciousness, designation, that I am a rich, I am a poor, all this designation. But when we are in the consciousness of soul, then we become fully cognizant of the reality around us. We understand we are eternal. We understand, our source, from where we came, where we have to go, and we fully feel happiness. So the qualities of the soul are described in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna in so many ways, but some of the slokas again we have quoted here. Lord Krishna says, because Arjuna, you are afraid of fighting, but if you consider that you are eternal, then you should understand that the soul, the real self, cannot be cut by pieces by any weapon. So do not worry that this, whatever the war going on here, only the body is going to die. The soul cannot be cut by any weapon, nor be burned by any fire. Like if you shoot like a fire weapon, they will not be burned. Cannot be moistened by water or withered by the wind. So if you use any of these weapons, water weapon, wind weapon, fire weapon, any of these weapons, you cannot destroy the soul. Because soul is non-breakable, it's insoluble, it is eternally the same. And it is invisible and inconceivable. So invisible, inconceivable. So how can you, attack the soul? You don't even see. How can I kill you if I don't even see you? There's the logic here. So soul is eternal. So our founder Acharya, who translated this Bhagavad Gita in English, he tells that, the soul can live in anywhere because soul cannot be destroyed. Soul cannot be burned, so soul can live in fire also. That is the logic. So soul is everywhere. It may be in different suitable body to live inside fire, but soul is there. So here is very interesting. I like this graphic design. Very creative idea. It's a shaping level for the spirit soul. The shaping level of spirit soul says, what is the content? 100% it is transcendental. Ingredients are Sat, Chita and Ananda. It's made of Sat, Chita and Ananda. Made of Sat, Chita, Ananda. The very small weight, very lightweight. And it is recyclable, always recycled. Recycled. And you don't have to worry about how to handle it because it is bomb-proof, fire-proof, waterproof, wind-proof. That's what the soul is. Okay, so we have discussed in previous slide that soul is made of Sat, Chita and Ananda. And where it is situated? In the heart region. And it gives energy to the whole body. But the body itself is, if there is no soul, then the body is temporary, asat. There is no knowledge, only ignorance. And there is no ananda, there is no bliss, only pain. Because of the body, we suffer different pains. We have a muscle pain, we have a head pain, we have different fever, we have cough, we have all this COVID now. So the body is going through all of this, but the soul doesn't experience. So the example is given that changing of the body is like changing of like your dress. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 22, that as a person puts on a new garment, new dress, giving up old one and taking a new one, similarly, the soul takes new body. Like you change your shirt and pant every day, you don't feel sad that now today I have to change my dress. We don't feel sad. We happily change new clothes. So similarly, the soul accepts new body because the old one is useless. It is not fit to, you know, it is not fit to carry the soul. It's like your old used car you send to the junkyard. Like that, the soul moves on, leaving the old useless body. So what is the size of the soul? That is also described in our scripture in Bhagavad Gita. It is said that Keshagra Satabhagasya Satadha Kalpitasya Cha. So Kesha Agra, that means that the tip of hair. Tip of the hair is called Kesha Agra, Shatabhagasya. So you divide that tip of hair into 100 parts. And then take one of those small 100 part, then again split there into 100 part. So that way, that smallest part, it is one of 10,000 parts. That is the size of the soul. It's a very, very minute. So it's very minute. And it is not made of material, so we cannot conceive. We cannot measure. Actually, it is aparimeya. But to get the idea, it describes that it's a very, very small. Okay. So, but the body is, taking the shape based on the desire and mentality of the soul. The soul has got some desires, and soul has got certain kind of mentality. Based on that, the soul gets a certain size and shape of body with different capacities. Like somebody gets a bird body, can fly. Somebody gets fish body, can swim in water. And somebody gets a human body or monkey body, can walk or jump on land. So the shape of the body is like, like your dress gets the shape. When you are, like a 3-year-old, then you buy a small dress that fits the 3-year body. But when you become like 50-year-old, you buy a dress that fits your 50-year, body. Like that, depending on the soul's desire, if the soul has a desire to live like an elephant, then the soul gets elephant body. Like that. So depending on the need, then there is a different type of covering. So that covering goes transformation. The body gets transformation. How? The body takes birth. The soul is eternal. Soul was there before and it will be after. But what is taking birth is the soul. The body. So body takes birth, and then after that it grows into different size, and it stays there for some time, produces some children, offsprings, and then it gets old, dwindles, and finally there is a death. So these are the 6 stages of transformation a body, goes through, different stages. Whereas the spirit soul, the real self, does not undergo these transformations. Here is the evidence. Lord Krishna says in verse 20 of same chapter 2 in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says there is neither birth nor death of the soul at any time. So there is no birth because it is eternal. For soul is not being born. Soul is not dying. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. It's not that like soul is created sometime and then soul is destroyed sometime. Soul is not created, not destroyed. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So therefore, whenever the body is finished, the soul is recycled. So we have to understand there are, like we can think that, oh, I'm soul, but like, am I my mind? Am I my intelligence? What am I? So my mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are composed of, they are called subtle body. The soul has a mind, soul has intelligence, soul has false ego, but the soul is not mind, soul is not intelligence, soul is not false ego. And the gross body. So gross body is mostly, when we talk about body, we talk about gross body. Gross body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, 5 major elements. In chemistry, they divide this earth into different elements like iron, copper, manganese, calcium, phosphorus, all those, carbon. They can be categorized within earth, different elements. And similarly, you have hydrogen, oxygen, and they are within water. Fire is a plasma. It has a different elements within there. Air is made of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, like that, ozone maybe. And then you have ether, which is the sky element, which the material scientists, they do not understand. So what happens is that when we leave the gross body, then when we are not completely in spiritual consciousness, then the subtle body is still carried on with the soul, and that brings to the different body. But if someone also gives up the subtle body before death, then he does not have to take a material body, but the soul goes to the pure spiritual form, pure spiritual body form, not into another material body. So that we have to understand that how to, completely leave the cycle of birth and death and become situated in our eternal nature, which is Sat, Chita, and Ananda. Now here is the, depiction of, the whole composition of our soul, subtle body, and gross body. The soul is at the core of our existence, and when the soul is conditioned, it's called conditioning. So that means there is some deposit of material layer. Conditioning means like you leave a stone on ground, and what happens is with time it gathers some moss and some coating. Naturally it takes place. Similarly, the soul, when falls in material world, then there is some coating. So that coating is like the subtle coating. It gets mind, intelligence, and false ego, thinking that I am like thinking power, thinking, willing, feeling, and intelligence, which gives you intelligence to discriminate between what is right and wrong. And false ego is something makes us illusioned that I am body. So there is depending on the mentality of this mind, intelligence, and false ego, the desire of the subtle body, what happens is there is a suitable, like we discussed, the suitable dress that is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. So that is a gross body that we see other bodies. We don't see others' mind, others' intelligence, and others' ego. But we can feel, we can feel somewhat, but we don't see. but we can see the body made of these material elements. So that is what is the difference between subtle body and gross body. The gross body is the outer layer, the subtle body is the inner layer, and the soul is the core of our existence, the real self. So now there are some people, the modern science, there are some forward thinkers, so-called. They think that, well, man can be made immortal, like, or maybe like, we may make a computer that can take over the control of human society. Like they show some like fiction movies. They just made all the robots, and then everybody's robot, and then they are controlling humans, and this is a robotic world. So men are also like just like machine, like robot. So we may think like that. There was a student here in physics department. He used to argue that, well, the soul can live eternally in robots in future. How? He says, well, before you die, we can take out your brain and we can transplant into a robot. And so your mind, it goes into robot, your body is dead, but you become eternal, you live in robot. So we'll discuss about that. That question I leave on to you for discussion. Is that possible or not possible? So if you see, actually the machines are designed by humans themselves, right? But the humans have independent consciousness. So our designer is God. So we have some independent consciousness, means we have some free will. Robots may have some free wills. Computers may have some free will, but they are within the program that you designed, within the codes you have designed. Whatever the options, you may have like millions of options for that machine to behave, interact with you. You may have so very complex, computer programming that the machine can, take various steps that you feel like, yeah, that this machine has a brain. Ultimately, it is controlled by whatever the program done by humans, the programmers. But we are programmed by God. So we have more independence than machines. So we can understand, how a machine is, how a man is different from a machine by this example. So when a video camera is looking at an object, like here, the video camera is getting the picture of a temple, deities. So the camera is not, feeling devotion to God. When the camera sees God, is not immediately offering obeisances with emotions, oh my dear God, you are so beautiful. It's not feeling like that. There is no consciousness, there is no judging, there is no emotions and no experience, not at all. It simply gets the light and it transforms into some, electric pulses in different pixels, and it gets stored in somewhere in your hard disk or whatever cloud space you have for recording those images. Whereas a human eye, here is our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he is observing the deities. He is very reverent. He is offering obeisances, pranam. Oh my dear Lord Krishna, I am your servant. Please accept me. Please let me serve you my best. That's what a devotee feels. Because a devotee has a consciousness, a soul has a consciousness. The soul has the discrimination, judging capacity by intelligence. Soul has emotions and experience. So that is the difference, right? We are not robots, or we are not just machines or cameras. So another question one may have is like, maybe I am God, right? I am also eternal. God is also eternal. God says that soul is never born. Krishna is also never born. So I may also become like a creator someday when I leave this body. I become as equal as God. But in fact, we are not gods because we don't have the full controlling power. Only God is controlling everything because He created everything, like we discussed last time. Krishna declares that I am holding everything like a thread, holding a pearl necklace. So Krishna is the source, Krishna is the controller, but we are not the controller. What are we able to control? Very little, very little. We may not be able to control our hunger and thirst. How long we may be fasting? One day, today is Ekadashi, we are fasting. It's very hard to fast till noon. How can we be controller? It's very hard to control our own body. God controls everybody, every planet. We can't control our own body. So can we control our nature's call? Immediately we have to go to bathroom, right? So we are not the controller. We are not God. God is always God. And we are not God, but we are God's property. We are God's part and parcel. We are God's children. We will always be God's property. We will not become God. There is some misconception. There are some philosophies. They say, well, you've forgotten your real self. When you get liberated, you become conscious. You get the super consciousness. Then you are equal to God. But that concept is completely defeated by the first verse we quoted in this presentation. That all the people in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they were there in the past, they are now there, they will be there in the future. So where is the question of like they will become God? Krishna does not say that in future you become me. We remain individual forever. We were individual, we will be individual. So we do not become God. But there is, the God, we can feel God. We can feel the God presence in our hearts. We are Jiva Atmas, or we are the soul. So we are Jiva Atmas. The super soul, which lives next to us in our heart, is Paramatma, or God. God present in everyone's heart. Sarvascha Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am seated in everyone's heart. So he is witnessing our desires. He is fulfilling our desires because he's next to us. Example given is there is two birds in every body. One bird is eating the fruit, like we are trying to enjoy the fruit of the tree. And the next bird, which is Paramatma or super soul, is witnessing our activities. So a soul is like we the souls are, cognizant, or we are aware of the pain and pleasure of this body. I am aware of how much pain I am feeling in my leg or back or head. But you guys do not understand how much painful my body is now. And I do not understand how much pain you are going through. But God, super soul, understand everyone's pain and pleasure, everyone's desire, because he is sitting in everyone's heart. So our consciousness is only limited within our body. We are cognizant, aware of our body. God is aware of everybody. And in that way, the soul is a loving servitor. And always, because we are part and parcel, part and parcel. What is the role of a part, machine part? You have a screw in a machine. What is the role of a screw? It has to fit in that, the thread, wherever it's supposed to fit. If there is a lever, if there is a nut, if there is a bolt, they have to fit in appropriate place where they are designed to fit. Similarly, the super soul, the supreme master God, Krishna, has designed us as his part and parcel to carry out some function. That function we have to do. We have to serve the whole. He is our master. Like a hand is serving the mouth, feeding the mouth. Hand and leg is serving the body, carrying the, walking different places. So, hand and leg, part of our body. Similarly, we are part and parcel of Krishna, Supreme God. So, that is our relationship. The soul is part of super soul. So, how to realize that connection? How to realize that connection is that by practice. Whatever we are discussing here is a theoretical knowledge. We may understand it, but we may immediately behave. So who you are? Immediately we may say, like I am so and so, I am father of so and so, I am son of so and so. Immediately, like we come to like bodily concept. I am Indian, like that. So we may immediately forget. So to revive this consciousness, to revive this understanding that I am eternal, all these living entities are eternal. They are all part and parcel of Supreme Father, Supreme God, Krishna. That realization we have to get by practicing. By practicing, the practice we get is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And that we will discuss in our future modules. How to apply the Bhagavad Gita principles and practice in our life so that we realize this all the time and we make our life perfect. We purify our consciousness from bodily to the spiritual consciousness, Sat Chita Ananda. So there is a story of, like, when someone realizes the soul, then that is the intelligence, right? But if someone does not realize the soul, just understand theoretically, then it is like the parrot who is caught in the net. So if you might have heard this story, that there was a sage. He became very compassionate to the parrot because the birds were caught by a hunter. So one sage teaches this parrot that hunter comes to the forest, throw some grain, spread the net. I should not be caught in the net. So the parrot memorizes what sages teach the parrot. Yes, hunter comes to the forest, throw some grain, spread the net. I should not caught in the net. So all of the birds, all the parrots in that community start, singing again and again and again. And the hunter comes, throws the grain. They immediately jump to eat the grain. Immediately they are caught in the net. And the hunter drags the net and is going home happily with so many birds in the net. And all the birds are singing. Hunter comes to the forest, throw the grain, spread the net. We should not be caught in the net. And they are caught in the net. So if we don't have realization, then we may not act like a soul. Like a bird, we may say, I'm eternal soul, but we may behave like a temporary body. So we will live today at this understanding that we are in same quality as God, Sat Chita Ananda. We have same composition, Sat Chita Ananda, and Krishna or the Supreme Lord, God, also have Sat Chita Ananda feature. And when we accept this reality that we are small in quantity, but God is infinite in quality, then our duty is to serve Him. So when we accept this reality that I am small, God is the biggest, supreme, I am infinitesimal, God is infinite. When we accept this fact and when we act in that relationship as servant, as subordinate to God, then we may get out of this loop of suffering in the material world by changing different bodies and not achieving the happiness. When we accept this fact, then we get the salvation. That means we do not come into material bodies, but we are situated in our real self, the eternal soul, which is pure and composed of Sat Chita Ananda, eternal, blissful, always blissful, and full of cognizance. So, thank you so much for being with us today. We covered this topic, Who Am I? The Science of the Soul. I hope we all get the fundamental understanding of our reality. In last module and today's module, and in the next module, we will discuss why bad things happen to good people. So we'll understand the law of karma. And in future modules, we understand the types of yoga. So karma, yoga, and finally, last two modules on applications of the Bhagavad Gita. How to purify our consciousness, how to be always situated in the consciousness of the soul, but not in the consciousness of body. The practical aspect. So thank you so much. With that, we open the floor for any discussion, sharing your realization, something which stuck to you, something was something surprising. So you can unmute, and I think I have not muted you. You can unmute yourself and then you can discuss. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, your evaluation of body as $20 is like amazing thing. That very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, the class was very nice, and it also helped me to like recall some points mentioned in Journey of Self-Discovery.
Yes, that's a very nice book.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, thank you so much. What point you thought is there which matches with today's discussion?
Like the soul, the comparison of the soul, and the I think it was mentioned as 1 by 10,000 or something part of the hair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what is your profession, Ravi Prabhu?
Prabhu?
What is your profession? What work you do?
I am software engineer, Prabhu.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah, so you can relate to some of the discussion, right?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu, yes.
Today something related with your computer programming, that we talk about the robot or computers, men are not machines. Even though you design some artificial intelligence software, they are artificial.
Yeah, but yes, they are like limited in resources. They can do up to some extent. Like God, Krishna is the one who can do anything. And in that way, we can say that we are different from God, even though we have same quality in the souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we are minute, yes, certainly. Thank you so much for sharing. Hare Krishna. Any other thought or question one may have? I asked a question whether it is possible to fit human brain in robots and live eternally as a robot in future. Is that possible? Does anybody agrees that it is possible or not possible? Okay, it seems everybody agree that. So anybody have any question or any discussion? Don't be shy. Just unmute yourself. There is the button, mic symbol. You just click that one. You will be unmuted and you can share. Is there anyone today who was not in last 3 presentations? Is there somebody who is completely new today? No? Okay. Amit Prabhu, you were there last time? I don't remember.
Yes, I was there.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so you have watched all 3 modules, Prabhu? You have been there in all 3 modules?
No, I missed the first one. I
Okay.
joined.
Are you getting the recordings? Are you able to follow those WhatsApp messages and getting recordings?
No, I'm not on WhatsApp actually.
Oh, how did you get this information?
My daughters are in another Hare Krishna programs, right? So from that WhatsApp group, I received this information.
Oh, okay. So can you go to our ISKCON St. Louis website? Where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, Prabhu. So we have ISKCON St. Louis website.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to our website, then we have linked to different WhatsApp groups, like the English group, Hindi group, like that.
Okay, I'll do it right away.
So please join that English group there.
Mm-hmm.
So we post our recordings through that WhatsApp link, and those who miss our previous presentations, some region, then they can go back and watch.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Hare Krishna.
Any other person who has not been part of the WhatsApp group, please do so. As I told Amit Prabhu that you can go to the website, and also encourage your friends to join the WhatsApp group so that we keep posting our recordings and we send our schedules, and so that we are all connected together. Any other question or anything related to today's presentation or past presentations about God, who is God, why there is God, why do we have to believe in God, all of this, anything? Okay, it seems everybody is happy, satisfied with the presentation. So with that, thank you so much. We'll meet you next week, same time, 11 o'clock, Sunday. Today is 13th, right? So September 20, Sunday at 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Hare Krishna.